merge with the machines and become immortal gods. That's all a delusion, a spiritual lie. So you believe you will escape judgment. No one escapes judgment. No one escapes justice ever. Not in this life or the next. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live. I'm going to race through some more of the headlines here and drill into a few of the other really important stories a little bit more, and then go to your phone calls for folks that are patiently holding. Briefly, Christmas is here. I know I just committed a politically incorrect thought crime, but Christmas is here. And even if you're not a Christian or don't like our Lord and Savior Santa Claus, I'm being sarcastic, that's what the media's turned it into, you can certainly enjoy time off and spending time with your families. And we have a lot of different specials running right now. 10% off the great stainless steel gravity-fed filters, what I use for my family. Promo code WATER to get 10% off the already lowest prices out there on the best gravity-fed filters. You can take them on the road. They've got the Nomad and Traveler types. They've got the Big King type systems that can even be used at your restaurant or office. And they've got the Pro Pure Pro 1 systems that cut out the fluoride, the glyphosates. The leading competition doesn't do this, or I'd be selling it. I did sell the competition before. When better stuff came out, I went to this. And then why even sell the other stuff if it's not as good? It's just kind of a no-brainer. I make more money selling everything, but I just am not going to do it. This is the best system for a gravity-fed system, and it's available at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139. And we are busy like an anthill here, getting ready to finish up the new studio, some of the new films, all the work we're doing, reaching well over 15 million people a week, one way or another, on all the different platforms. And I want to boost that to 30 million, 40 million, 50 million a week. And we've got plans to do it. It's hard to get to that next level, so busy with all the stuff we're currently doing. But we're getting the folks in, getting them trained, moving forward. We're getting very, very close, thanks to all your help out there. We're giving our maximum effort against the New World Order. And when you purchase the books, the videos, the T-shirts, all the great things that are at InfoWarsStore.com, it makes the transmission possible. And finally, there's InfoWarsLife.com, where we have the proprietary nascent iodine that, in fact, I keep forgetting since we moved it over there to that desk, that display desk. Well, one of you guys bring me the bottle that's open. So I forgot to take it this morning, and I need to take my iodine twice a day. This is not the regular iodine at the store, folks. This is atomic. That's why you get iodine from the store, you put it on paper, it's black. It's bound iodine. This is proprietary. They had to use electricity and sound waves to make it. And there's only one lab in the whole country that can do it, and we've got the corner on the whole deal. And let me tell you, because I had a doctor tell me to get on this stuff like 4 months ago, and it blew me away so much, I basically bought it. And put it out. It turns blue on paper. It's real iodine, folks, like the real iodine crystals. That's why it's lighter and not black. And it just absolutely has done amazing things for my thyroid, my health, and it's helping fund the operation. So InfoWarsLife.com, a great gift to give friends and family. Consult your physician if you have any medical issues first, folks, because you will detoxify. So good. And then we've also got the new fluoride shield. This detoxifies fluoride as well on record, but it's got 5 other compounds with a lighter dose of nascent iodine, so you can take them together with the Shilajit and a bunch of other stuff to really detoxify the body. And I've been on it about 2 months. It just came out, but I had the tester bottles that I approved, and just what it did, stuff coming out of my skin, you name it. I mean, I still look like hell from all the stress I put my body through. People can see on television the difference. I mean, people can see it. So, again, just try it, folks. I'm not going to even make claims here. InfoWarsLife.com. No brag, just fact. You've heard the rave reviews. Or 888-253-3139. But try the new fluoride shield. It's in a 2-ounce bottle and is a lot more inexpensive for the amount you get than even the nascent iodine, the pure nascent iodine. Okay, I'm done plugging for this hour. Let me just recap, if you just joined us, some of the stuff we already covered. Then I'm going to get into the big stacks I haven't hit yet. We do have Max Kaiser coming up on the economy, and we'll take your calls. And then we have Stefan Molyneux getting into world events, always informative. We'll have open phones with him as well. This is really the biggest news of the day, and we've been talking a lot about this, saying historically this is the type of stuff that starts major world wars. And now it's being called a Cuban Missile Crisis, level situation in the areas in and around Japan, South Korea, and China. They're in the South China Sea Chinese naval vessel tries to force U.S. warship to stop international waters. And that's Bill Gertz, of course, who also writes for the Washington Times. A Chinese naval vessel tried to force a U.S. guided missile warship to stop international waters recently, causing a tense military standoff in the latest case of Chinese maritime harassment, according to defense officials. Guys, I haven't gotten Gertz on in years. Can we get Bill Gertz on about this or just about the whole situation? He's got big CIA contacts. The guided missile cruiser USS Copens, which recently took part in a disaster relief operation in the Philippines from the typhoon, was confronted by Chinese warships in the South China Sea near Beijing's new aircraft carrier, the Laoing, if I'm pronouncing that right, according to officials familiar with the incident. And basically, we're going to ram them if they didn't get out of the way. This is really becoming a big, big, big issue, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's talk about what else is a big issue. They love to fearmonger about terrorism all day, even though most of these al-Qaeda groups have been funded by our government and others, and that's now been declassified. We're going to cover that in a moment. But when you look at satellite photos now, and I've seen documentaries on this, the whole Earth has giant impact points all over it like the moon. But the moon doesn't have water, doesn't have as much erosion, doesn't have plants growing on it and animals running across it. So you see all the impact points. And we now know because of Shoemaker-Levy, the comet that crashed into one of the gas giants, that these things come through all the Jupiter. They don't come through every 50 million years like the people have just made up out of the air or pulled out of their Obamas. I was going to say their butts, but the point is I'm sorry, with stupid attempts at humor. Now they know these events are happening every couple hundred years. Now that they have the satellites to be able to gauge it and then go in and have archaeologists test the isotopes that are in the rock when these impacts happened. And I've had Levy of the Shoemaker-Levy group on. I've had a lot of these astronomers and scientists on. And they now know that this is an event that happens a lot. That's why a lot of civilizations, they don't even know the names of, and they can't read the writing of, the stone tablets of, were destroyed, and then the few survivors tell the story of fire from the sky. So this is the real type of threat. And then you've got super volcanoes that they know are hundreds of all over the world that are still, they call them dormant, but they're really active. And you've got, anybody who's been to Yellowstone, you see Old Faithful, that's boiling water from the volcanic lava below. The entire park is the cone of a sunken, fallen-in volcano. In the last few years, it's been incredibly active. This is out of the New York Post. And my point is, government's all got us worried about terrorists and stuff, folks. On a scale of, 1 to a billion, it doesn't even show up. Honeybees kill more people than terrorists every year. Look it up. And I'm not saying this is going to blow up on us, but we know volcanoes erupt more often now than scientists previously said. We don't know exactly how often, but it looks like pretty darn often. You end up like people in Pompeii, but I've seen different numbers, but let's just put it this way. This volcano would have an explosion hundreds of times bigger than Krakatoa or Pompeii. Pompeii thousands of years ago. Krakatoa was, 100 and something years ago? The point is that this is not a game. This is not a joke. Hundreds of square miles is the size of the cone. And the last time it blew up, most of the country got covered with ash, just to give you an idea. And let me tell you, this is a big deal. I mean, you got the Chinese and the U.S. and Japan close to war. You got all this crazy stuff going on. And then you got this. And now we know this stuff happens a lot more often than folks thought. Okay? Beneath Yellowstone, a volcano that could wipe out the U.S., it's the awe-inspiring pride of the United States, and it harbors a deadly power that could kill us all. Yellowstone National Park is pristine wilderness, full of scenic landscapes. That's it. I'm going up there. It's a good excuse to go on a road trip with the kids. And iconic hot pools and geysers that attract tens of thousands of visitors every year. But it's what lies beneath that has scientists scurrying. That's a good way to describe it. I'm glad somebody cares. And we've had some of these scientists on over the years. We've long known that Yellowstone is merely the skin top of a supervolcano, a giant pool of magma sitting just under the Earth's surface. Exactly how giant has been the subject of much speculation until now. Dun, dun, dun. A team from the University of Utah, I want them on, guys. I want them on this show next week, please, please. Of Utah have told the American Geological Union fall meeting in San Francisco that Yellowstone's magma chamber is 2.5 times larger than previously thought. It is the underground cavern measuring some 55 miles by 20 miles and containing between 125 and 185 billion cubic miles of molten rock. 185 billion cubic miles. Oh, I'm so scared of Al-Qaeda now. I'm glad they've got armored vehicles on every street corner for us, folks. And that's what always, it's like the song Godzilla by Blue Oyster Cult. Godzilla, that's a metaphor for the earth. I mean, man, I mean, don't you just wish one of these would go off in D.C. sometimes? I mean, I'm being sarcastic. I actually don't wish that because Rand Paul's up there. But the point is that this is a big deal. If it blows, it will wipe out America. Yeah, that's what the scientists have said here before, and have enormous impacts on the rest of the world. Maybe we could have the TSA go out there and just frisk people, and that would make us safe. The university researchers described their discovery as astounding. And really, researchers are fighting the same thing. This is what they've been saying for a decade as it's been heating up. Because, see, they used to think, oh, it goes off every few million years. Now they know it's rising and lowering much faster and is showing evidence it could explode anytime. Anytime. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. Because they don't have a lot of supervolcanoes to study. They have a lot of regular different, the three types, really four types. But they're leaning towards that it's going to blow up. Is it 10 years, 20 years, 100 years from now? Nobody knows. Round and round she goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. Yeah, that's right. In fact, CJ just popped in here and pointed out that they're saying it's overdue, but I'm trying to be conservative here. They'll have CNN announce that I claim that Obama is going to blow up a volcano. You know, a woman called in and said, I think weather weapons could have made the tornadoes hit Oklahoma City. And I said, well, they do have weather weapons, but this probably isn't that. And they turned that into Alex Jones says Obama sent the tornadoes, lying to their victim audience. So I'm not saying it's overdue, even though the scientists say that. And I didn't make the volcano. They'll say, Jones claims that there's a spaceship under the UN building. That's Rachel Maddow. He said that. Okay, continuing. I mean, she said that. The research is part of an ongoing effort to assess the true threat of the molten beast represents. What is a super volcano? Yeah, and then they say eruption due in this article. From analysis of rock and sediment layers, scientists say another eruption is almost due. And that's why there's different views, because they all vary and debate it, at least by geological standards. It appears the supervolcano explodes roughly every 700,000 years. They don't know. 3 such eruptions are known. One was 2.1 million years ago, another 1.3 million years ago, because again, they can study the isotopes. The most recent was 640,000 years ago. But here's what the scientists have told me, and I haven't read this whole article, so I don't know if they cover it here, because I keep talking about it, and the next page covers what I already had said before, because we've had the scientist on, is that when you look at these things, they think there's like hiccups, which are, 20, 30, 40, 50 times the size of a Mount St. Helens. So the big eruptions are happening over hundreds of thousands of years, but then it kind of has hiccups. And a hiccup, they think, will destroy the 4-state area around there. So better pray and hope there's a God above, folks. So what would happen if Yellowstone was to erupt? Something close to Armageddon, he goes on to say in the New York Post. Soil samples revealed that the last time it happened, the whole North America was smothered by ash. Okay, I've already covered all this. See, I've already studied this because I'm worried about it, because I'm an extremist. Okay, let's go to another very interesting article here in the science and tech area. Physicists discover clearest evidence yet that the universe is a hologram. They're finding in scientific mapping that there's some type of wavelength system. British scientists found this last year. This is Japanese scientists this time, holding everything together in like an outside projection. So a universe outside the universe containing this verse. And, of course, that's a multiverse that theories of Max Planck and many other quantum mechanics technicians of their time, of course, the most famous of them, Einstein, simultaneous backup theory that universe is a hologram. There it is out of the Journal of Nature. And black holes are just fissures between those. So, yeah, that's really the greatest crime of the globalists, is that we spend all our time obsessed with them when they really don't even matter and are just idiots. Oh, here's another one. They're coming out with CIA-run press bots that write fake news stories that are given the data or press releases. This is out of Newsfeed. Meet the robot telemarketer who denies she's a robot. Yeah, no, I've gotten calls from these for years. And I talked about this about 2 years ago where I was arguing, I was calling information because I was driving hands-free and didn't want to be surfing while I was driving. And I said, no, I want to talk to the operator. And they go, this is the operator. I said, this is a robot. And it started arguing with me. And then I said, that's it, operator, operator, for like a minute. And then a woman came on. So I've already had arguments, and I guarantee you, I was part of some beta test because I tried it again and it never happened, where they were testing this out. The phone call came from a charming woman with bright, engaging voice to the cell phone of a Time Washington Bureau Chief Michael Shearer. She wanted to offer a deal on health insurance, but something was fishy. It's now coming out that they're actually giving your data to telemarketers and people when you do sign up for Obamacare. We already knew that, but that's coming out now. So there you go. Here's another one. Lawmakers who oversee government surveillance programs receive millions from intelligence companies set to make billions off of raping our privacy. Isn't that just sweet? That's out of the Capital City Project. Very important. Just to always point that out. I have some other science news that's really interesting I haven't gotten to yet. But we're going to come back and go to your phone calls this segment and the next. Then Max Kaiser at 8 after is going to join us. And then I want to talk about UN confirms chemical arms were used repeatedly in Syria. And then about 7 paragraphs in, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 paragraphs in, they said no one knows who really did it. Well, that's actually not true. Cy Hirsch and others have now confirmed what we first documented off the al-Qaeda official channels that are their channels, launching the chemical attacks and singing love songs to bin Laden. It's so goofy if they weren't so deadly. Insiders reveal Obama framed Assad for chemical weapons attack, Western Journalism Center. So we've got all that. That's coming up. And then we've got another fraud. I heard a talk show host on WOAI last night. I just happened to dial through things. And they were saying, yeah, people said that hijackers couldn't use cell phones on 9/11. Well, they've been proven wrong now. And people couldn't make calls because now the FAA is working with the FCC and others to allow it. That's when your phone, like on a cruise ship, gets jacked into their system and charges you $5 by the minute. It's working off an antenna on the bottom. Your cell phone doesn't work above 3,000 feet. The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other members of the fluorine family that are added to Western water supplies are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the people that drink it. So the question is, why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We developed Fluoride Shield to be the highest quality, highest standards because I use it every day and my family uses it every single day. Let's take a closer look at the ingredients that make up this special proprietary formula. Tamarind has been celebrated for its ability to immobilize toxic fluoride residues, while zeolites have a long history of attracting and holding toxic compounds. Enter fulvic acid, an excellent cleansing agent. Then we added the highest quality shilajit, a rare compound that is collected from the high mountains of the Himalayas. We topped it all off with the powerhouse herb cilantro that is intended to mobilize fluoride and other dangerous compounds for removal from the body. And the final touch to energize this formula is our proprietary nascent iodine. And as always, consult your physician as well because that is important. And finally, Fluoride Shield, Survival Shield, and all the products at InfoWarsLife.com grew out of my quest to try to find the very best compounds from God's cornucopia to protect myself and my family. And from our research, I believe we are bringing you the best, highest quality products. And you have that commitment from Alex Jones and the entire InfoWars crew.